So in today's Creative Competence Catch Up, today I'm going to be chatting with Matt. Matt, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, hello. How are you, Amy?
Good, you?
Thanks very much for inviting me onto your show. I really appreciate it. My name is Matt Burke. I am the creator of the Magic Minds podcast and the Magic Minds Foundation. Stories that have the power to inspire.
Oh, that's so great. Like, I feel that like what it is that you are doing at the moment out on social media, etc., really is very inspiring. And I suppose getting people confidence boosted, and whether that be out in community workshops I've seen you doing, you've been on your podcast like you have mentioned, etc. So, in terms of this, how did it come about? Did it come back from? Did it come about by your own experiences, how you felt once, and the roadblocks you've had to overcome?
Yeah, like the difficult childhood, the journey that I was on. I had a difficult past childhood. I'd done a lot of healing work. I was working the national rehab, and I was always looking to, further my education. And I just come up with the idea. I love stories. Um, I love listening to stories, and I just thought, wouldn't it be just wonderful if I had a podcast and I had like a reporter's pass to
Yeah.
get into this. So what I done was I created a podcast. I went to like doctors and psychologists and immunologists and brain injury patients and said, "Will you come on my podcast?" So they'll tell me a story and they'll educate me while I'm going on this, whether it be a patient or whether it be a doctor. So it was like doing another degree, like 90 in 2000 or 2018. I started, so 5 years, and
Mm.
I've been continuing right up to last night. I'm still learning and still listening to stories, and it's just a incredibly wonderful experience.
Up. Was there anything that ever stopped you from like getting to this point? Anything holding you back to stop you getting from where you are now?
Yeah, great question, of course. And as you will know, our greatest barrier is ourselves
Oh,
and the
definitely.
story we tell them. We're the gatekeepers to our own prison, and the prison is in our mind. So the barriers were like, I'm not good enough. And I just made a video on this morning. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. Because that's the story I was told before. And I'll put this out. People think, who do you think you are? You know, I didn't know that creation was the stuff that I do, making videos, writing poems. I just thought it was people that drew and painted. They were artists. I never knew myself to be a creator. So here I am creating content and putting podcasts and artwork for the podcast. That's so not me because I'm left-handed, and I was told that left-handed are not talented and they're stupid and thick and they can't write properly. But now I'm going into a world of creation
Yeah.
and content, and so the barrier was me, and I had to keep becoming aware, as my Buddhist practice
Hmm.
taught me, is to become aware of the blocks, become aware of the barriers, the internal dialogue that was stopping me from progressing. And it was
Hmm.
all me. And it's still me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I suppose like that fear of like being held back, it not only I suppose do we ourselves hold ourselves back, but it's that idea that other people on where they are on their journeys can also hold us back too. The idea of expectation. I think that's a big one, isn't it?
Huge, great show, of course. And I just made a video this morning after sitting with my mentor, Morgan Cummins. And LinkedIn is a platform that I didn't realize
Hmm.
scares me
Hmm.
because I worked in the health sector. I worked in the hospitals, and it was difficult when I first started there, but I was just submerged in it because I was a student. Now I'm self-employed, and I do talks and works around places. I'm now moving into the corporate world, the professional world, the elite. These are all my fears and perceptions. So I made a video thinking, only because of my realization, I'm afraid of LinkedIn, and my vision is getting narrow and narrow and narrow,
Yeah.
and I'm not seeing the prosperity and the abundance that's available to me. I'm just seeing fear.
Hmm.
And I made that video going, wow, I'm now aware of it. And like anything, when we become aware, we can lean in, or we can, as the cartoon goes, we can run away. And I'm not
Yeah.
about that. I move into the
It's
sharp
like
edges of
proper
it.
straight in.
Straight in. I made that video and I put it on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and that's the thing,
That's
isn't it? Sometimes, like, instead of like, sometimes like we'll procrastinate and procrastination makes it even worse. So it's like something that's actually probably like that, it actually gets escalated into something like this. And yeah,
It
I suppose it's just
turns
easier
into
to
a
get it done.
fire breathing dragon. It has legs and has claws and comes out its nostril. When before it was just a cinder, or it was a little a piece of ash, and we grow it. Oh, it's just like,
Mm.
and it's all here, right?
How would you define your community? How have you been establishing that and like bringing them on the journey with you?
Oh, it's hugely important, Amy. Like I'm working on different stuff in life. There's different
Mm-hmm.
pillars of life that I find really important. My spiritual journey, my physical health, well-being, my psychological, my
Mm-hmm.
career. So what I try to do is I link in with people that I believe are doing great work in their community, like
Yeah.
Morgan. Morgan is in the that world that I'm trying to move into, the
Mm-hmm.
corporate world. So he's my mentor in that. Jeff Thompson, my spiritual mentor, the books I read, my own work. I hang around with psychologists and psychoanalysis, and I do holotropic.
Mm-hmm.
They're all in service of support me, because these are the people that are masters of their crafts, where I believe that they're and we trade skills, we trade knowledge. Like I'm giving Morgan some insights around the healing process and trauma and stuff, and just sharing my process. And he's bartering with me, you know, even having a conversation around LinkedIn. He could see within my physiology I was shifting and moving and getting uncomfortable. Like
Mm-hmm.
even that conversation is so rewarding. It's such a learning. So what
Yeah.
I try to do is I try to surround myself with those people, because we're not meant to do this alone. And
Oh
it's
no.
a smart move to link in with the people that are masters of their craft, or
Mm.
have acquired skills and knowledge in this area that could be of benefit to you, and say, hey, help me
Yeah.
out with this.
Yeah, and also, yeah, it is that idea that I was I was having a bit of a chat with my own community today on like a live, and I was talking about that, like how your journey, you might be finding it difficult, but then if you are as you are on your own, there will be some person that's like got all the like the help and support from other people, and obviously it takes a community basically to get to that stage. If you carry on being who you are on your own, etc., sometimes you might not get as far just because of trying to do everything on your own. And sometimes it's just a case of getting people supporting you on that journey to get that to the next roadblock, or over that next roadblock to get where you want to be.
Oh, 1,000,000%. I was recently working I won't tell you the long story, but I was recently working with a girls' football team,
Mm-hmm.
and was asked to come and do some speaking,
Yeah,
motivational
yeah.
speaking before their final. And I just to explain to them how important we all are, when nothing works in isolation. I brought a plant, and I
Mm-hmm.
asked them what was the most important part of this plant.
Right.
Some said the leaves, some said the branch, some said the flowers.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, without the stem, there'd be no branches. Without the branches, there'd be no leaves. Without the soil. What I was trying to say is, whether you're a striker, whether you're a defender, whether you're the manager or substitute, everybody plays a
Oh
vital
yeah.
part in this, and nothing works in isolation.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Unity. It does unity in community, and when we realize that we're more powerful as a cohesive unit, and that's why working in, as you're saying, which is brilliant,
Yeah.
linking in with people that will support you in your process. They're not going to do it for you. You still have
Oh
to do your
no.
own growing, like the leaf and the branches and all have to do their work, but it's a support.
Yeah.
And we don't feel separate, because we're not. That's the great struggle human beings have, that we
Mm.
feel separate on everything. Nothing is separate. Nothing is in isolation.
Yeah. And I think it always helps, doesn't it? In terms of community, it's having that common ground as well, sometimes, isn't it, as well? Like, obviously, everybody will have their own roadblocks, this, that, and the other. But if you can align yourself with somebody in a certain field or industry, or where that specialize or have expertise in that particular field, the more they'll have that empathy, the compassion of what you're trying to achieve, rather than someone that's totally the opposite.
Yeah. And what the guy learned in a podcast recently, boy, I done a stand-up comedy course 6 weeks, and I interviewed the guy to run. It was amazing. And we talk about this paying it forward. What he likes to do
Yes.
is pay it back. When he learns a skill or learns something new, he hands it back to someone else, like you and I, on a journey going, I went through this process and I found this and that very difficult. Try this. And that could get us a little further up the field, a
Yeah.
little quicker than us digging holes and going left and going right and meandering. But that's not bad, because even a wrong turn's a right turn.
Oh
But
yeah.
isn't it lovely, like you and I can hand back to people and go,
Mm,
hey, try this out.
mm.
Give this a go on your journey, whether it's podcasting, whether it's your creative, the fantastic artwork that you
Mm.
do
And
with your materials.
sometimes those mistakes or those, when we feel like we've been here, we've been there, then round, and then sometimes you have to go through that process to find more out about yourself. And if you kind of just, if everything all went like that, it's like, well, that's a bit boring, isn't it? Having that
And
leads
then,
you unexpected places.
yeah, like snakes and ladders, you go up and you think you're, like I think I'm the Thich Nhat Hanh, I'm Dalai Lama, and I'm, and all of a sudden I slide down and realize, oh man, I'm just an ordinary human being like everyone else. And I'm just so disappointed.
So, as we come towards like the creativity part of this podcast, can you tell us a bit more about the workshops or dig deeper a bit about what they are all about and what you're doing at the moment?
Yeah, so I recently left the hospital where I worked in brain injury rehab.
Hmm.
And now I've the foundation, the Magic Mind Foundation. I've designed workshops based on my own story, stuff that I've experienced, whether I'm not believing in myself,
Hmm.
thinking I was a bad person. So I created a workshop around that, the three M's, mind, movement, and mindfulness, how that can help. And then I've done another one. You're the hero of your story. I've designed everybody can meditate because I teach meditation. These are all things that I've experienced, but they're all under the same umbrella of wanting to inspire, empower, encourage, showing them the journey I've been on. So I can't tell you about other stuff other than my story.
Yeah.
So if there's something in my story, whether it's resilience, whether it's creativity, whether it's love, kindness, compassion, understanding, it'll be in there somewhere. So it's just me telling my story about different parts of my life, whether it's the meditation, the movement, and they're just vehicles, Amy, just to exchange love, kindness. I'm just being creative, but I know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to exchange love and kindness. I'm trying to inspire, empower, encourage, and help. And all those workshops and the incense and the crystals, they're just modalities. They're just vehicles to me to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Like tools of the trade or whatever you want to call it. Like I
Yeah.
call them creative tools because sometimes, like I always find like a creative way of doing things is probably more beneficial to my audience than it is to kind of write it down in a book and then say, oh, just read that or whatever. Being practical and kind of being creative in your approach, sometimes it makes it easier for people to learn than others,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, 100%. So I have a stall on the Liberty Mark and I sell crystals and incense, and
Oh yeah.
this called white sage, and I sell this. So somebody, a man or lady, will come in and they'll want to buy this, and they go, what's this? And I say, it's white sage. What does that do? And I says, it's synonymous with removing of negative energy and creates a positive house. And they go, wow, what's that all about? And I say, well, it's not really all about this. We can start right thinking and da 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 da. So they come in looking for this. So we have this deep, rich conversation about how we think and how we feel and how we behave and da 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 da. I'm just using this as a
As
way
a
of getting
tool.
closer, as a
Yeah.
tool to sell kindness and compassion. Because if you're coming in to buy this, the chances are you may be struggling in a part of your life that you're trying to remove negative energy.
Hmm.
And I'm going, that's great. Let's have a conversation. How can I help you?
Yeah.
But yet we're still talking about this.
That's so cool. I do love it. I love that. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
like, and you're doing the same with your paintbrush or your material that you
Yeah.
design and move and make. You're inspiring a population or generation. So that's your modality.
Yeah, I love it.
Interesting, right?
And I suppose that's another thing like I find like by using these particular tools, like a creative tool that I might be using now might not necessarily be that appropriate like down the line, but it's that focusing on the process and what's now rather than what thinking about too much what lies ahead. And by doing that, it's just that one little step of getting to where you want to be rather than like trying to plan everything out and then getting overwhelmed with everything that you don't achieve.
Yeah, 100%. Isn't that
Yeah,
great saying, like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, and the bite is now. And you being an artist, you're a master of your craft in regards to mindfulness and being in the present moment. You can't be anywhere else but a paintbrush or fixing a thing, and
exactly.
that's only now. And the next moment is now, 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 now. It's an illusion, isn't it? Tomorrow,
Mm.
the next day, 5-year plan. Duh, duh, duh. Creation is lovely for just keeping us right here,
Yeah,
getting
definitely.
lost in the arts, lost in the dance.
So as we come towards the end of this week's episode, my last little question to you, any words of encouragement or wisdom that you will give to people out there?
In service of this chat, creation is the opposite to destruction. Um,
Yeah.
So if you're going through a difficult time, if you're having challenges in your life, your thoughts, your behaviors, your actions may be of destruction, negative thinking, giving yourself a hard time, self-sabotage. I'm going to say, could you shine a light of awareness onto creating? And whether you're left sided brain, whether you're right sided brain, doesn't matter. You can still create. You can still make something out of nothing. If that's like, creating a program, playing with your kids, artwork, drawing, doing something, create. And when we do that, we can change our life. We can change our biochemistry because that changes our internal uh, environment. We elicit dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. Destruction creates stress hormones, cortisol, epinephrine.
Mm-hmm.
By just choosing to create rather than sitting there self-sabotaging, we can just change our future. We can change our life. And then in all of that, no matter what you do, where you're in life, just be kind. And that starts with your thinking.
Definitely.
How is my thinking? Is it of destruction or creativity? And if it's of destruction, just be a little bit gentle and go, look at that. And I'll just move over here and we'll just dance over and play over here and just play. Creation is all about playing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. The curiosity and everything that you get from it. But it's been so, so great to speak to you today, Matt, and thank you so much for your insights.
Yeah, look, I'm a big admirer of you. I've known you a few years now and I've watched your development and I'm super proud of you and you're doing incredible work. You're following your passion and you inspire me. So thanks. I'm really privileged to be here.